Welcome to the Pickle Show. It is, of course, interview time. I am delighted this week to welcome on an incredibly talented children's book author who has a very imaginative mind, shall we say. And these stories now have captivated the hearts and minds of children all over the world. And they're going to captivate my mind as well today. I wanted to get them, okay? I am delighted to welcome on Emer Conlon from, as you can see from the background, Vroom Town Books. Well, Emer, how are you?
Very well. Thanks for having me. This is great.
Look, absolutely. It's an honor to bring you on. It really is. Like, I'm absolutely. When I was mentioning about the possibility of you coming on, I was like, yes, please. Let's get on the WhatsApp and let's get talking. Like, you know what I mean? But look, come here. Obviously, we're going to get into website and all details and that. But look, we have to let everybody start off at the beginning, I suppose. So, where did it all begin? Where did the whole idea come from? And how did you get into it?
So my real job is actually working in a Scania dealership over in Monaghan as a marketing manager there. So obviously every day you're looking out the window and you're not obviously looking out the window, but you're working randomly, you might look out the window surrounded by trucks. And this is the time before Disney had actually developed cars and planes. And I was thinking to myself, all of the little boys and girls are coming in with their dads and mums collecting their new trucks. And they are in awe looking up at the size of them and hearing the noise of them. And I thought, I am going to write a book about trucks, just randomly. And then I did a bit of research. I went into, bookstores and stuff, and I saw all of the children's books on the shelves. And I'm thinking, how am I going to stand out from all of these? But there were no books about trucks. So therein started the journey. That's 10 years ago now.
Wow.
And I was very enthusiastic at the start. I was doing loads of, I had the website sorted. I had about 5 or 6 books written, and I sent the books and the transcripts over to various publishers, because that would be the ideal way, Kieran, to get into this, because then they would take on the promotion and everything of the book, and they would have the routes to market and stuff. Now, luckily, I do marketing as a profession, because I got 62, sorry, no, not at the moment, letters from them. But then I always think of J.K. Rowling. I think she got 84. So
well, there you go.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, that's okay then. You know what I mean? 84 is a figure to him. So it is like. That's someone,
exactly.
But does that impact you in a sense? Like, obviously, any type of rejection in any form of life, you know what I mean, can be very hard to deal with, can obviously impact you in different ways and that. But for you, like, how did that just drive you on more?
Yeah, it kind of did.
No pun intended there by driving you on.
Yeah, I know. I got that.
Yeah. Wish I knew I meant that one.
It did, in a way. The first couple I was thinking, well, why don't they like this, But when I think of it, my first book was The Adventure of Tim the Tipper in Quentin's Quarry, but I had actually called Tim Tig originally. So the original manuscripts going to the UK was Tig, Tadhg is how I spelt him. And looking back now, they probably looked at that and couldn't pronounce it.
Oh,
I mean,
100%.
some Irish people can't pronounce it, when they see that name either. So that was an error, I think, on my behalf. But to get back to the fact was I rejected her. And, the first couple of times I was thinking, optimistically you think, well, somebody's going to sign you. This is going to be great. You get yourself an agent and you'll be famous within the week. But no, it didn't happen. But I just kept going. And then in the end, I thought to myself, do you know what? I can't expect somebody to believe in me and Vroom Town unless I do so myself. So I literally put my money where my mouth was. And I started the process of writing the book, what was needed, even down to the number of pages that would be accepted for a children's book. There's quite a few, not rules, but guidelines, we'll say, to follow in that sense. And even to get, the code at the back, the ISBN number, all of these things. It was a new world, but as is everybody who starts out on a journey. So I kept going. I put my money where my mouth is, and here we are. We're 6 books in, and I've finished the 7th book now. So,
and I was going to say, obviously, from the site, I was able to read on it here where it says that, of course, one of the books has won first place in the Writer's Digest Book Awards in America, and another is a Scania official licensed product. That's now the wording from the site, so I want to make sure I have that all
Yeah,
completely right. Because it says
perfect.
behind you, award-winning. Like, I read, am I right in saying that your book was in the background of the toy show?
Yes, one of them. Yes, it was just on the shelf.
Yeah,
I've sent it into to Ryan. We won't mention too much about it at the moment, but I
yeah,
sent it into Ryan.
yeah.
I'd say about 8 years ago, and it's the luck of the draw. So on the third time I sent it, and I actually got a phone call to say, Emer, Ryan loved the book. This was Screech, the small truck caught in the cave. Ryan loves the book, but we're dealing with children and live TV, and anything can happen. So there was a little bit of delay with a couple of the children before the book section on the toy show that year, which was 4 years ago, and he didn't get to show all the books. But last year, I should say, yes, it was on the shelf in the background. So obviously I was pausing, press play, pause, rewind, right,
Yeah,
get the
yeah.
screenshot, and that was all you need nearly, as seen on the toy show, kind of.
Brilliant. No, not kind of. It was there,
It was,
right?
yeah, it was.
Okay. Doesn't matter what else, right? It was there. You know what I mean? Like, and unlike him, at least, I mean, it might be there next year.
Yeah,
Right. I know, as you said, like that was the whole kind of idea, the whole logic behind it all, right? Behind the job, seeing trucks,
yeah,
kids, right? But that's not just how you write a book, okay? You have to have a mind and imagination. You know what I mean? Like as you said there, stuck in a
yeah.
cave. You know what I mean? Things like that. Like where's your own imagination like come in here, where you're thinking, I have an idea, because it's not just about the truck. It's not just about, you know what I mean? It's like there's stories to them. So where does that absolute love like come from?
I know. I think even when I was younger, I always loved stories. And now I wasn't a great reader, I have to be honest, and that surprised a lot of people. I wasn't a great reader as a child, but I always had a vivid imagination. And sometimes my friends would say, live in a world of my own, actually. But this in terms of the imagination for the stories and things, it's always important to have a goodie and a baddie,
Yeah.
and that's kind of where the basis was, and then you figure out the characters regarding that. And then I literally brought myself back to my 5 or 6 year old self and thought, okay, what would excite me? So one of the stories is about the cave, as you mentioned, and
Yeah.
them getting caught in the cave, and another story is about a volcano erupting with lava and everything. So that's really exciting for that 5 year old mind, boy or girl,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter. And then there's just a couple of journeys, and every child would go in the back of a car and visit people. So this is just a journey the two of the trucks had, and they had a little bit of a mishap on the way.
Which
So I think
happens,
it's just,
unfortunately. It can
yeah,
happen. So again,
happens a lot. So yeah, it's just about trying to think the location, the good and the bad, and then it flows. Do you know what I tell you, Kieran? The actual writing of the stories takes about 10 minutes for the first
yeah.
draft. It's the promotion and the whole marketing around it. That's what takes the 10 years,
Yeah.
honestly.
Well, that's like I like my daughter loves, now obviously she was 7 yesterday, so obviously
Happy
that's why
birthday,
there's
Emma.
that the happy 7 birthday is still up. I had to keep it up for the show, obviously, but like she
Yeah.
turned 7, yeah, and like she loves books. I mean, she loves, but every night it's like, Dad, read me a book, and I'd get fed up reading books, so I just make up a story, because I love making
Yeah.
up just stories for her, which she just kind of looks at me like, where do you get this from? And I'm like, it's my 7-year-old mind playing overtime on it, so it is.
Yes.
But you're right when you're saying, because there's certain books, and like it's weird. I could go up the whole room and I could say, yeah, there's like they're nearly all the same at the pages. Like they nearly all have a similar, you know, like in a way, there's not too many
Yeah.
words. There's the right amount of pictures. There's the right amount, and as you said, you could write a story in 10 minutes,
Yeah.
but you have to make it child friendly in a sense. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
that's where the time comes in. Like that's where you have to spend the time
Yeah.
doing that, I'm sure. Like,
100%. That is, and I mean, you should be writing down some of those stories, Kieran. You might
oh,
have yourself a bestseller as well. And,
I
and
don't-
I don't mean as well, but you might
yeah.
have a
No,
bestseller there. And you
I'll
never
give
know.
you the idea, and then you can just make it in to something like this, and I'll just get like a little kind of line at the back of the book, just going. I mean, you know where you get like what EPs and films and all that kind of stuff. I could do like
Yes.
just have the name on it, and that's all. That's all. Now, I told you before we start, I was a truck kid. Like I had an
Amazing.
uncle who drove a DAF lorry, right? Because that's the only ones that
Yeah.
were back then, right? And he took me like to every county in Ireland. I've been literally everywhere, and I always thought I would end up driving trucks. You know what I mean? That was what I.
Yeah.
presume, but obviously I never did. Well, obviously, you don't know this, right? All the listeners do. I don't drive, right? At all.
Right.
I never say I grew up in the countryside with a family who didn't drive. So there wasn't
Yes.
like
Well,
you grew up in the countryside, you should be learning how to drive because that's what country people do. I didn't have any cars, so therefore it was really hard to learn how to drive. So it was like, you know, but no, like for me, like, and I said, like, I know you very, very kindly said you were sending books to Emma. Like, I
yes,
personally,
absolutely.
I can't wait to sit down and read. I got to be completely
Oh,
honest, like, you know what I mean? Because like the whole idea, you're right though. Like when I was young, like trucks amazed me. The size, the smell, everything just was like. And you're right. I know obviously you have cars now. You know what I mean? You plane.
yeah.
I know
Planes,
that, but
yeah.
like it seems like such an obvious thing in
Yeah.
hindsight. Like obviously when you look back, you go, "Wow, that was really obvious." Like you know what I mean, that's as you
Yeah.
said. Like why is there none of this already there? Like you know what I mean? But like, was there any stumbling blocks for you in a sense, like with the ideas or anything like that? Like was there ever a kind of time where you thought, maybe this isn't the right type of thing right now. I know it's not a personal thing or somebody else looking at it, but did you think at some point maybe I'm going down the wrong road here? Maybe I need to mix it up.
Do you know what? That's a good question. I originally, I have to be honest, I had written the books leaning towards boys because there was a gender reading gap between boys and girls. Girls tended to naturally pick up a book, just like Emma, and boys would really only want it if they were interested in the subject matter.
Yeah.
So for the first two books that I wrote, this is all done through research. It wasn't opinion. I spent so much time researching all of this, and even the size of the book and everything that we alluded to earlier, and the number of pages, etc. But in terms of the gender gap, it made boys reach for the book or whatever. But then I thought to myself, after when I was doing story times in schools and libraries and things like that, the girls just loved the story. And I'm not trying to be gender specific here because Vroom Town is very gender neutral as it happens now. That was one of the things I learned, and one of the possibly a stumbling block as well. And you're literally learning as you go. Yeah. And I introduced, as a direct result of that, I introduced a girl truck called Sparkle. And
brilliant.
since we have Daisy as well, and we've another truck called Essie. But the beauty of that was something I did learn along the way, and I thought, you know, I have to adjust what I thought a few years ago to what I'm actually seeing in front of me. And the brilliant thing about it is that, as I said, Vroom Town is gender neutral insofar as the boys now love Sparkle. Some of the girls love the baddies, Terrible Terry, Bully Dozer. Yeah. So it's I love that. It doesn't matter what they are. Yeah. So that's that's the they're all my friends. I almost talk to them. They don't really talk back though, but I think the day they do, I should get help.
what about Pico the pickup truck? Like, you know what I mean? Like I'm just saying, like that could be
a thing.
Just like, you know what I mean, you know, just throwing it out there, like, you know what I mean, like that.
I got it. I have it.
Like I mean, like we've only been talking for 15 minutes, and I've already wrote down a children's story here, so I have like with Pico the pickup truck.
I know.
So I have
absolutely. With swap commission and everything.
Sure, maybe just for like a month or a year, like, you know what I mean.
Until
the film comes out. You know what I mean? Imagine like maybe the Tash and the goatee might have to go off the character. We might have to edit him a wee bit, like, so we might, but. I mean, see, your mind's like an overdrive. You're thinking Pico the pickup truck. Wow.
Yes, I am.
Yeah, you know what I mean? I never even thought about that. Well, look, I know you're saying kind of age-wise in that. Like, I know Emma's 7. You mentioned about like 5. Was that? Have you? Now, anybody can read a book, and I don't mean this to sound ageist, if that's even a word, right? Like, is there a certain age in the sense that you would be more? These would be more swaying towards, if you know what I mean, like it. I don't know how to word that properly, if you know what I mean. But yeah, is there a right kind of age group for these books?
Yeah, well, I think again you had to put your book into a category when writing it. 5 to 8 was the one was where I placed Vroom Town at the time. In reality, an 8-year-old, they might like the latter few books because there's a little bit more text and they're a little bit more meaty to somebody who would be 8. But in general, I find the 2 to 7 I have down as my target market. The original couple of books don't have as much text in them or words in them as
for
the
the
others. So
younger.
exactly. So they kind of progress with the child's journey themselves. If they were starting to get involved with Vroom Town and become a Vroomer at 2, and they followed the there's no sequence. They can, as you said earlier, you can pick up a book, it doesn't matter. But if you were to follow the Vroom Town sequence, they do get slightly more words, slightly more difficult. But the 2 and 3-year-olds just love the pictures. And then as they get older, they learn to pick up the words and read them then themselves. Yeah.
And
So
like,
I would say 2 to 7.
Yeah, and like obviously picking up a book at, say, for example, like 7, 8-year-olds and that, like, I mean, a bit more. I have a 7-year-old, and let's just say a bit more cop on about them to a degree, right? You have a very important thing here where you can help kids of that age with a message of understanding so many things, right? So would you be in your mindset of doing a book saying, right, I want to have, it's not a hidden message, if you know what I mean, but it's just the way the story goes. Like, would you understand and feel that, yes, my books can be that important in a sense that it's not just this truck drove down the road and crashed and this truck came and helped them and, you know what I mean, and they lived happily ever after. Like, is that, when you're writing a book, is that in your mindset where you're thinking, there's an important message here that, you know what I mean, I really want to, I don't want to just splash it out there, but I want it to be that they're going to get to, oh, wow, now I understand why he did that. And, oh, now I can, like, that has to be an element for yourself, is it as well?
Yeah, it really is, Kieran, hugely, because the books kind of touch on social issues like bullying. As I said, that there's baddies and goodies. Now, when I say baddies, we can't really say that. It's good people possibly doing bad, or good trucks possibly doing bad things. But there's the element that good wins over evil. But there is also a thread through all the story times of the importance of friendship and the importance of accepting people. And in one of the particular books, an American truck comes over to visit Vroom Town, and he looks completely different to all the other trucks in Vroom Town. So initially there's a little bit of apprehension there with the trucks, and they're thinking, oh, he looks so different. But then the idea was that when he smiles and they get to chat to him, they just love him as well. So there's an inclusion within Vroom Town. It doesn't matter what you look like. And also the importance, there's a couple, the underlying story, or the underlying thing in all of the books actually as well, is when the trucks see any sort of bullying behavior or anything, that they tell their friends, and they tell their and then they agree to tell the adult in their lives, whoever that may be. And there's always consequences for the actions. And the question when I'm doing the story times is always, do you think they learned the lesson? And so many of the children naively say yes. They don't. Check out the next book.
Wow. See, that's so important. Like, you're not just writing a book. You know what I mean? Like, you're helping in so many different ways. Like, now it's a different world than when I was that age. You know what I mean? Like, it's scary. Like, I have a 2-year-old and I'm nearly dreading what the world's gonna be like when he gets to 7. Like, it's changing. Oh God, I don't know. It frightens me a lot. I got to be honest with you. Like, I'm new to having kids. Obviously, I only have a 7-year-old and a 2-year-old, but I got to be honest. There's not many days go by that something doesn't frighten the life out of me.
Absolutely, yeah. And you don't know where it's going to go now. And technology as well is a huge thing. Oh, it's a different element that you have to consider, where you know, it would be frightening enough, but now there's this element of online.
A couple of weeks ago, I had a fellow on called Ryan Burns, and he set up this thing called Move to Improve Kids. And again, he's like that. We were talking about technology. His mind behind it all was, he's a huge family of like nieces, nephews, and all that kind of stuff. And he's seeing them at different ages where it's like they're coming in and they're straight to a tablet, or they're coming in and they're straight to telly. And so, like, the whole point of it is as simple as to get them out active, and, you know what I mean, so they're trying to do initiatives like that, which is obviously brilliant, because, you know what I mean, like, books are brilliant because they're a great thing of going to bed as well as anything else, because everybody loves a story when they're going to bed, like, you know what I mean. Even my beloved wife asked me to tell her stories, and
probably get those written down, Kieran, I'm telling you.
No, them ones are badly made up. Yeah, she's not as patient as my 7-year-old Emma, so she's not. Like, when it comes to telling stories, like, so is not. But look, I think I can't remember childhood books when I was a kid. That's just being honest. I don't remember being a child, picking up books. All I remember doing when I was young was going out to a field and playing football, because that's what we did at my age. I'll never forget her name. Sue Townsend is an author, right? And she wrote the Adrian Mole diary books, right? Yeah. So they were like the first ever books that I read, like myself. I was like, whatever, 12, 13, 14, reading them. Like, but like, this was a great idea you had because of your life. Like, you said you weren't really into kind of like, picking up a book and reading and that. Like, so, like, there was probably then no, I suppose, kind of person, that you might have looked to as a author or anything like that. Like, this was just like you going, I want to do this, and I'm going to do it. Like, simple as that. Like,
simple as that. Honestly, I hadn't a clue of the world I was stepping into. I didn't aspire to look to somebody else in terms of any sort. And listen, that's not necessarily a good thing. That's just my journey. I hadn't anybody to think, oh yeah, I'm going to do that in her style or his style. I didn't. I think I created my own style, rightly or wrongly, for the good or the bad. You'll find out now when you're reading the stories to Emma and Jamie. But
100%.
But yeah, I just literally, I always liked words, and I write poems for my friends' birthdays, significant birthdays and stuff, and just play on words as well. But what they do say, well, what Google says, author Google says that, the way to write a book is to read and read and read and read everybody else. And then I'm thinking, no, because then you'll get somebody else's idea subliminally.
Yeah.
You'll think it's your idea and you'll write it down. So I can honestly say, genuinely, all of the stories and the ideas are my own. I would be scared. And you know what? I haven't even seen Cars or Planes, because when Kieran, the movie of Vroom Town, it's only in my head at the moment, comes out, I don't want to be accused of copying anything. It's just all going to come from within.
Oh, yeah. So, but that's brilliant, because that means it's just all there. You're not looking for inspiration. You're not, as you said, you're not copying an idea. You're not going, oh, I like the way Cars did that, so I'll just do that with trucks. Like that, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
That won't work. That, you know what I mean? It'll work for the first time, and then it'll be, wait a minute, I seen that in Cars. You know what I mean? But I think that's probably a good thing, to not be driven on by stuff you've seen and stuff that you think, oh, well, they did it like this, so I better kind of follow suit. You know what I mean?
100%.
You need to have your own mind, in a sense, and your own freedom to be able to go and do what you think is right. Like, which, look, like, it's amazing. Like, honest to God, like, I can't wait for these books. I gotta be honest with you. Like, I really, really can't wait. Like, and I'm gonna get Emma to do a video review thing, right? And I'm gonna post it up as well, so I am right when she gets it, because she's gonna absolutely. She's
amazing.
Gonna, like, when I told her about it and I showed her them, she had a face on her like, oh my God, what? Like, but of course her question was why, and I was like, well, because I'm interviewing Emer. I'm interviewing this lovely lady, and she's gonna come onto the show, and we're gonna chat about it. She's like, okay, and I was just like, yeah, it's your birthday, so relax, like, you know what I mean? So it is like, hey, but no, but like, honestly, God, like, I gotta say, I can't wait to read the books. I'm so grateful for you for coming on and chatting to me. Like, I mean it when I say this, right? You can happily take the name Pickle, okay? And you can.
Oh, thank you.
Have a pickup truck.
Now.
Yeah, it's not trademarked or anything like that. Now you have to put the K into it, though, because there's an animated cartoon on YouTube, right? Which is PICO, that I never knew existed. So when I was doing this show, because the previous show I had with my best mate was just PICO, but it was a double name, so it was grand. So I couldn't call this one the Pickle with the K. So I had to stick it in. But so if you decide to go down the pickup truck route, I'm just saying, stick the K in. Excellent. Like, you know what I mean? But listen,
we will chat. We will chat.
I can't wait. I'm so excited. But listen, will you do me a favor? Tell everybody where they can find you. You know what I mean? Like, because I want people to become Vroomers, because I'm going to become a Vroomer, okay? And so is Emma and Jamie, and I'll get the wife being a Vroomer as well. You tell everybody where to find you.
Okay, so the books are actually available in all bookstores nationwide, and Eason, etc. And also the website is vroomtown.ie. And funny, actually, they were available 2 years ago. They were on Aer Lingus flights, well, prior to COVID, I think it was 2019. The Christmas book was available on all Aer Lingus flights in November and December. So that was really amazing, as well, in the in-flight magazine. So but yeah, so vroomtown.ie is the website, and then we're on Facebook as well, Vroom Town Books. but people can find us in all bookstores nationwide.
And I'll keep tagging you on Instagram, because at the
Oh,
minute I'm only working on Instagram at the minute. I know I have my own personal Facebook, but I haven't done a Facebook
yeah,
page yet for this show. I'm just working off Instagram in the hope that a few more people
fantastic.
might follow me at some stage.
Absolutely will.
But Emer, I have to say, honest to God, I am just so happy that you come on the show. I think you're doing an incredible thing. You really are. I'm so happy that we got introduced to each other. Thanks, Joanne.
Likewise. Thanks, Joanne.
Yeah, thanks to Joe for that. So it is. But no, honest to God, best of luck with everything that you're doing in the future. It's absolutely incredible. The messages that you're sending out through books is something that can simply not be taught. And there's things that some of these parents can't just tell their kids stuff. You have to do it in the element of a book and that. And I think that is a really important factor in all this. But no, honest to God, thank you. I mean that from the bottom of my heart.
Thank you. Thank you for your support and for having me on, for chatting. And hopefully the books won't disappoint now after all that.
Not a hope in hell. And don't worry, if I stick in an extra line or a page about, oh, Emma, wait to tell you about Pickle the pickup truck, just came and saved the day, right? So it did. I'm telling you, you're going to get messages now after this interview, right? That go out. People are going to go, I like that idea. I like that idea. So I do. Hey. But no, Emma, honestly, God, thank you so much. Okay, we will get talking to each other soon. And thanks again for coming on.
Take care. Thank you.